Ooh, Bravo is ready to fight. They have released the footage from Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip in Morocco to refute Caroline Manzo's accusations against Brandi Glanville. We also have the Real Housewives of Orange County. The ladies are in London, and they're not acting very ladylike. Let's get into it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Beador, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I did a little martini night last night, but I still woke up. I did my infinity workout at Orange Theory, and we getting it, baby. We were doing the burpees and the push-ups and the squat jumps and the running on the track and the rowing. Oh my God, I did 2,500 meters on the rower. A lot of meters, a lot of rowing. But we did it. Survived. Happy Monday. You guys are starting your week off on a good start. What's going on with the eclipse? Has it happened yet? Did it eclipse yet? Did it clip? Did it clip yet? I hear like the energy is shifting today, so make sure we put out lots of good love, positivity, manifestation. I am abundance. I am love. I am all good things. All good things come to me constantly. Money flows to me abundantly. Love is all around me. I am love. Make sure you put out your intentions today, guys, because the energy is energean. All right. What's going on, everybody? Angela just became a new member. Congrats. Hi, guys. Welcome on in. The solar eclipse is tonight. Okay, well, tonight, make sure you're putting out that good, abundant energy. All right. I love you. Should we start with this Bravo Caroline Manzo stuff? Because it is wild. It looks like there's a little glitch on the live chat. Like I see it's like showing me other people and then nobody and then showing other people and yeah. Okay. Well, Monday, eclipse, Mercury retrograde, all the things, right? All the things happening today. But so we have over the weekend, it was reported by Page 6, Lisa Shannon, who is an executive producer for Ultimate Girls Trip. She has now come out in new court documents, basically saying they have the footage of Brandi and Caroline, and that they believe that Caroline disrespected Brandi, but they don't believe that there was any sort of sexual assault. There was no sexual violation on Brandi's part to Caroline Manzo. They also get into all of her statements, saying that after the incident happened, Caroline made it very clear that she was fully comfortable continuing to film. Caroline did not want Brandi sent home early from the trip. Caroline wanted to continue filming. She said that the triggers that were brought up were from past experiences that she had never dealt with, and she'd been holding on to them for the last 50 years. And now she's just having to come to terms with them. And so, yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting because it seems like, I know last year I was hearing rumblings that they were trying to settle with her. They were offering her settlements. She turned them down, was my understanding, seemingly because I believe they didn't want the footage released. And so they were trying to prevent that from happening. But now Peacock, Bravo, and Shed Media have turned over the footage showing what actually went down. They have temporarily blocked it from the public, so it's not. So even though the court documents are publicly accessible, the videos themselves have been restricted from the public having access to them. I assume because maybe they want to save. I mean, if they're very confident that this did not happen to Caroline, and they said that, like I mentioned, she was comfortable continuing to film. She talked about her experiences on camera. She talked about how Brandi's experience or the incident with Brandi triggered those past experiences. They do kind of get into some of the other women's comments, specifically Phaedra, who who I don't believe was drinking, and she was like, I thought we are all having fun. Like, you can't really expect us, to know your history and know, what happened to you prior. Um, so yeah, it seems like Bravo is now, like I said last year, I believe they were trying to settle with her, and now it seems like they're just going, guns a-blazing, hard no. They're not feeding into this. They're not giving her a settlement. They want her lawsuit dismissed altogether. And they seem to feel confident that the footage will prove that. Brandi has since spoken out. She says she's not happy about this. She's like, I begged them to say something sooner. I begged them to address this sooner. And they didn't. They left me out to dry. I would imagine the reason they didn't put the footage out there is because they probably were in negotiations to settle with Caroline. They probably did, want to play their cards wisely, and try to make sure that they, appeased Caroline and got her to sign something saying that she wasn't going to sue moving forward, and she just wasn't working with them. So I imagine that's what delayed this entire process. And now that we're actually at the, in this phase where they're trying to get the lawsuit dismissed because they don't believe Caroline has strong grounds, they're like, here's the footage. Here's the reality. These are the statements that Caroline made that day. She did not express feeling uncomfortable. She was never left alone after the incident. She did not want Brandi sent home. She filmed all the way through up until the other women disclosed to Caroline, because I guess they did film the aftermath of all of this, which Caroline, she shared with the other women her experience. And she also shared that, or they also shared that Caroline, the only time she asked not to be filmed was when she found out that the other women were planning to go and visit Brandi at her hotel. And I assume with the cameras. So it seems like, I don't know if it was retaliation against, I don't know. Or why that would, I don't know. Listen, I'm not Caroline Manzo. I can't speak for Caroline Manzo. But it seems like everybody, production, cast, Brandi, they all seem to have a very different perception of what really went down in Morocco. And then I mean, we went through this a couple months ago, where we looked at the cast and who's still following who on social media. Nobody's following Caroline. I believe the only person that still follows her is, or no, I think some of the cast members are following her, but the only one Caroline seems to follow on social media, I believe, is Alex McCord. But even Alex has been very friendly towards Brandi on social media, comments on her, congratulated her when the Peacock was up for an Emmy, and when they won their Emmy for Best Cast. So the women all seem to be fine with Brandi. And Alex was the one that was rumored to be the closest to Caroline after all of this, because Alex is a therapist and she wanted to help Caroline through it, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, if Alex is still friendly with Brandi, I think that even says a lot now, Camille's spoken out about this. Gretchen has spoken out about this. Obviously, we know Phaedra and Eva are very much on Brandi's side of all the, Vicky's on Brandi's side of all of this. So it's interesting. I feel like the more we explore the details about this, the more that we know about the footage and them turning the footage over and them feeling confident in turning over the footage. It's hard to see how people are still like diehard defending Caroline Manzo. I mean, there are a lot of different theories as to why she doesn't want the footage aired. One of them being that she doesn't want the show aired because of the comments that she made about her sister Dina, allegedly, which led to some beef between her and Brandi, and they kind of got into it. Another is that, she's a grandmother now, she's older, she doesn't really want that footage out there of her making out with Brandi and getting drunk and being risque, which was never really her role or character on Housewives. Of Jersey, she was always, the matriarch, the hard one, the family. Let me tell you something about my family. So she was always very much that hard, tough chick. So to see her getting drunk, getting loose, and kissing Brandi on camera, I would imagine, and that's not to say that her experience, of assault from when she was a child, that didn't come back to light and that these experiences didn't trigger that. I also want to be, empathetic toward that experience from when she was younger. But it's interesting. But Lisa Shannon come out, shared the footage, shared, Caroline filmed all the way through. when she found out that they were going to go visit Brandi. She didn't want to be filmed anymore. She ended up leaving Morocco early. From there, after she left Morocco, Lisa Shannon also made it clear that she was still paid her full rate, that they, made sure that she was her check that she was supposed to get for Ultimate Girl Show. I think they all ended up getting paid after that, to be honest with you. I think Camille even said, which sometimes isn't the standard. Sometimes they pay you in increments. Like they'll pay you 20% up front, and then they'll pay you 20% upon completion of production. And then the final chunk that you're owed gets paid after the show actually airs. So I don't know. I guess it also depends on the contract, but it seems like with Ultimate Girl Trip, it was just like one flat check that everyone was getting, and they all got their check. I believe it was what, $250,000 is what Kristen Takeman said that she was paid for Ultimate Girl Trip, or what someone said that Kristen was paid. So I mean, that's a pretty nice paycheck for just what, a week of work to go and have fun on vacation. But Brandi says that she's not happy about this. She's like, no, I begged them to do it. They only did it when it was convenient for them to release the footage and prove that I didn't do anything wrong, or for them to go on record and actually say that I didn't do anything wrong. The thing is, there's a lot of, red tape with this type of stuff, right? Because of the fact that there was a lawsuit, the allegations are really big. You have to make sure you protect the network, you protect the cast, you protect, the brand. Like, there are so many things when you're a big company like this that you are trying to strategically play your cards right. And I think maybe they thought that they were going to be able to get Caroline to, I don't know, retract some of this, but we haven't heard from her at all. I don't think her attorneys have responded to anything as of yet. Brandi has been very, adamant that she did not do anything wrong. She did not do what she was been accused of. So here we are. Ooh, okay, let's see what the live chat has to say. The Manzo boys give me the, why do they give you the ick? I like the Manzo boys. What's up, bro? Hey, bro, what's going on? Zack Pack is the best. The Zack Pack is the best. Did they all get paid for filming? Because we know Bravo doesn't do residuals. Yeah, they all get paid for filming. And like they said, they paid out Caroline as well. I would assume they also paid out Brandi, and that's probably why. She's been a grandma, yes, but she hasn't been on television as a grandma. She hasn't been on television in a very long time. Her whole, I mean, I think even talking about, did somebody say, sorry, you're back with your ex? Did I read that comment correctly? Someone in the live chat just said, sorry, you're back with your ex. Someone got back with their ex and we're saying sorry? Ooh. I'm in the minority. I've always loved Brandi and believed her from day one. Well, then I'm in the minority too. I always believed, I always was like, let's see how this all plays out. But I kind of was like leaning more towards Brandi's side of things, because it just seemed like that's what, with all the women standing by her, it was interesting. When is your next show, Zack? I don't have it. I'm not, as of right now, I have no plans to do any more live shows this year. I told my team we're going to put live shows on a break. So if you didn't come to the last couple ones, sorry guys, you missed out. But as of right now, we have nothing on the books. We have no plans to do any more live shows, at least for this year. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's doing live shows now that I'm just like, I don't like doing what everybody else is doing. I like starting the trend. I started the trend. I toured throughout 2022. I toured throughout 2023. And now I pass off the baton and I say, thank you, next guys. Have fun. You never said why, Zack, because of the drama that ensues. No, actually, no. I just, Jackie said shows at Friendsgiving and it was a blast. Friendsgiving was a blast. The last two shows we did were a lot of fun. Why am I not doing it anymore? I just wanted a break. I traveled so much. Again, I toured in 2022 and 2023, and there was so much traveling that I did the past 2 years, and I had a blast. I loved it, but it's like I didn't want to fatigue people. I didn't want, to keep telling people, come to a show, come to a show. I was like, people are probably getting like burned out by me. So I just wanted to take a break, settle, enjoy my new apartment, enjoy my dogs, enjoy, you know, my mom, I also tape the show every day now, you know, and we have disaster daters, and stay tuned because something new may be getting announced soon. So it's been busy. I do love touring. I'm not saying I'm never going to do more live shows in the future, but like everyone else is doing live shows right now. Go support their live shows. Go show them some love. Show up for your other creators. And the Zack Pack will reunite IRL at some point. Your live shows are on pause. Yes, they are on pause. Just living and loving life right now. But yeah, let's talk about, well, that's all I have for you in terms of Ultimate Girls Trip. It was all reported by Page Six. So yeah. Who's back with their ex? I didn't see that come. I don't know. Somebody said someone's back with their ex and they said they were sorry about it. And I was like, oh no. The live chat was popping off. Okay. Next, let's talk about OC. So there was the cast trip that happened. They all went out to they left Orange County and they went out to London, remember? And then Kelly Dodd was also in London, and she was just like, I'm not with those bitches. I'm not filming with them. I just also happen to be here. And she was popping off on the Instagram. Well, fast forward. Fast forward to them now being in London. I believe the trip is wrapped. They're back now. But it seems like there was a lot of drama. Someone online was saying that none of them have really posted on their Instagram stories, so that's how you know shit's been going down and it must be chaotic because they're all enthralled in the drama. But then there was an audio clip that I saw. I believe it was posted on Bravo and Cocktails, and then I saw somebody post it on Twitter as well. And you can overhear Shannon, Beador, and Tamra fighting and going at it, which, I mean, I guess we kind of expected that we knew that they've had a falling out, but they were heard arguing, and Shannon's like, this is what you do. You get drunk and you say things and they hurt people, Tamra. And Tamra's like, I said sorry. She's like, but that's what you do. You get drunk and you say things and then you say sorry, but it doesn't go away because you're actually hurting people. And Tamra's like, I'm sorry. That's my opinion. So they seem to be having it out. But I mean, I guess if we're doing the cast trip now, then the season must be coming to a wrap. I also heard that Salt Lake City is really good as well. I haven't heard too many details. I've tried to not pay attention to too many of the details because I'm kind of fatigued with the spoilers. I hate when we find things out and then the show doesn't air for another 8 months and we have to wait until it actually airs. Then by the time that it airs, we already know everything. That's why I think Salt Lake last season was good, because the Monica reality Von T stuff didn't leak into the press really. No one was really talking about it or sharing about it. But I think that's what made it so good, is we were able to just watch it and enjoy it and appreciate it for what it was, which I was very pleased with. Thank you very much. But we'll see what OC brings. Sounds like OC is going to be a good season. Alexis Bellino was not on the cast trip, even though it seems like she has been filming a lot. I don't know if Vicky was in London. I don't believe Vicky was there either. So seems like Alexis and Vicky are just friends of, or at least making cameos. When I saw and interviewed Heather Dubrow at the GLAAD Awards, she said Vicky's always around. So I don't know if that means she's a friend of. I don't know if that means that she's filming. I don't know what that means exactly, but I don't know. We'll see. Let me know if you're ready for a new season of OC. I know I am. I'm ready for something good. Oh, we have Jersey that's coming up, which we now know Melissa and Teresa had no interactions together at all. It's interesting though, because I feel like back in the day when like housewives or reality stars, when they had beef, they had to face each other and get into the beef, right? Like they were forced to get into the conflict and resolution of it all. But now we have like Teresa and Melissa that are like, we're filming together, but we're not speaking together. We have like Tom and Ariana's like, I'm not speaking to you. I'm not looking at you. I'm not acknowledging you. So I don't know. Dubai, will it be good? I don't know if Dubai will be good. I don't think it's a sustainable model for Jersey or for Vanderpump. Like, it's not going to work if people are on the shows together and they don't want to film or interact if the show is based around the groups, right? Well, but then you also have, like, shows like Teen Mom that did really well, and none of those ladies really interacted with each other, they just filmed each of their lives individually, so I feel like that could be a model, like, we film Ariana's life, and then we film Tom's life, you know? I don't know, I feel like we want there to be some sort of, point of connection. But in terms of Dubai, I think Dubai, I mean, I don't know, I didn't watch Dubai last season. I didn't care. I don't care about it this season. If anything, maybe it'll get some more views because we only will have Jersey and Dubai as the only 2 housewives this summer. So I feel like people will oblige and watch. I mean, if they don't watch, then that says a lot about how little people are interested in it. But I think that they will oblige and just, be like, all right, because that's kind of how they did it with OC when OC first aired its first season, and it didn't have stellar ratings, so they just kept re-airing it on the network over and over and over until eventually it picked up an audience and people got hooked on it. So it's possible that that may happen with Dubai. But I feel like Dubai ended production a long time ago, as did Jersey. The fact that we're barely getting these shows this summer, but I understand you have to stretch it out because otherwise we have no other content on Bravo. So we'll see. But we've done it before, right? Where there are only like two housewife shows airing at once. We'll see. I don't plan on watching Dubai, so don't come to me. Listen, unless somebody pays me to watch Dubai, I ain't watching Dubai. Not interested. Didn't hook me the first season. Not interested in the second season. Thank you. Next. Even Jersey, I don't know how excited I am to watch it. The trailer didn't really seem to look that good. Knowing that Melissa and Teresa don't interact, I hear that the Margaret and Jackie fight is dumb. We'll see what it brings. We shall see. But it just let's see what else. What else has happened over the weekend? I feel like there wasn't a lot of tea over the week. I mean, I feel like the Caroline and Brandi stuff was the juiciest part. We have the eclipse. There was an earthquake in New York, which was wild because New York doesn't have earthquakes. So now I know I don't have to move to New York. Yeah, we had some leaked photos of the ladies of OC in London. Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, people kept sharing a lot of bulge pictures over the weekend too. Summer House bulge. Wes was showing off himself in the, or no, not Wes. Jesse from Summer House posted a photo, and then Wes was like, "Wait, are you showing your hog?" Because I guess you could see like a bulge. But I'm like, I don't really see a bulge. It looks real small to me. I didn't see nothing. Didn't see not a damn thing. And then who was the other one? Oh, and then West went and he was like, I got dumplings, everybody. Look at my dumplings. And then you can see behind the bag of dumplings, you see like his big old moose knuckle. It looked like a camel toe to me. Didn't really look much like a moose knuckle. It looked like a big old camel toe. I was like, West from Summer House got a big old fat camel toe. Gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me, quick jump out, but you let it get inside of me. Listen, sometimes when you're packing a lot, like sometimes it's hard with the shorts and things are just like it's hard to keep it concealed, you know? It's a challenge sometimes, guys. It's not intentional. It's a challenge. Joe says, I was not one of those people that shared a bulge picture with Zack. I don't share bulges. I share the real thing. Yes. Become a member if you want more unfiltered. Yes. If you want more context into Joe's comment, about sharing the real, like, Joe is like a detective. He knows how to find all the naughty stuff on the internet from these people. And then I'm shocked when it comes across my desk. But I think that's all I have in terms of Brandi and Caroline and OC. Hopefully something exciting will break today. But also I did want to touch on Instagram. Well, actually on all of my social media. I posted a video with my brother Ethan. As I shared online, April is Autism Awareness Month, and my brother Ethan, 22 years old, has autism. Oh, let's talk about faith. Oh, that's right. Faith. Well, I mean, is it really that interesting? Do we care about Faith? I forgot that did happen over the weekend too, but like, I didn't really care. She's suing Bravo. What, 9 years later? Because she's like, oh my God, they were terrible to me. So she's now suing Bravo. But it's interesting because on top of suing Bravo, she's also in, which I don't know how real the lawsuit is, because I feel like Faith kind of does these things and then has a project that she promotes because she ties, the scandal and the press that she gets from the scandal to promoting something. So she announced that she's going to launch a tell-all podcast. Great. And she also announced that she's going to be in Randall Emmett's new film with John Travolta. I'm like, really? Like, haven't we heard the accusations about Randall Emmett? The alleged accusations, not to mention the allegations against John Travolta. You want to talk about, suing the network for, okay. You do you go film your little movie with John Travolta, and work with Randall Emmett. Good for you. Launch your podcast. What a novel idea. Nobody's ever done that before. I know I want Zach's opinion on Lala now. If he listens to it, literally shocked her team let that podcast out. Oh, what happened? What did she say on her podcast? Yeah, Faith Stowers. Yeah. Team Lala. Why are people mad at Lala? What did Lala do now? Well, I like Lala. I'm always gonna be Team Lala. But yes. Back to Lala and Heather McDonald came together, yeah. And they came to me across as mean girls talking crap about Ariana. I mean, Lala's beefing with Ariana. She's setting herself up for a storyline next season. If anything, she's also setting Ariana up for a storyline next season, since her storyline this season with the sandwich shop is kind of flopping. Listen, I like Ariana. I'm happy that she's getting her paycheck and she's doing all her things. I think at this point she's just moved on from the show. She's not interested. She's not engaged. She doesn't care about doing the show anymore. Neither does Katie. But I just, thank you. Next, moving on. Her podcast talking about Ariana's dad who passed away. Let's not do that, guys. I feel like I think I did see a comment on social media about like Lala referencing Ariana's dad. I do think that is kind of in poor taste to reference her dad because her dad has passed away. But like, I think people are looking for drama out of every little thing at this point. She just fought with Ariana at the reunion. They're not on good terms. She has a podcast. She's going to talk about it on her pod. If I was beefing with somebody right after a reunion, I'm going to come on my podcast. And I'm probably going to talk shit about them too. That's what we do. That's what you would do too. If you were in Lala's position, you would talk shit about Ariana too. People are saying that Lala's bitter and angry and jealous. I don't know, maybe, but she's in her feelings right now, Lala's comments about the dad was really flippant. I didn't listen to the comments, so they both lost their dad, and she was referencing that. Oh, okay. I didn't listen to it. I maybe saw a clip here or there on social media, but I didn't listen to the full context of it, so I can't really comment on it. I think Ariana is bigger than the show. She should move on up and take all the opportunities. I agree, but when Ariana's having a moment, let's be clear. The moment will pass. The moment will eventually end. What is she going to do once the moment ends? I feel like her ego has gotten a little big, but we'll see. Lala said maybe Ariana isn't as close to her dad as I was. I mean, it's not a very nice statement, but Lala lost. Yeah, Lala also lost her dad. I do know Lala was very close to her father. But listen, I don't like when people compare that type of stuff, My relationship with my dad and your relationship with your dad. Parental relationships are complicated. But yeah. From what I'm hearing, I don't love that comment, but people were saying that Lala is now becoming like the new Lisa Rinna, the way that she's coming at Ariana. But listen, we're talking about it. It's making us interested in Vanderpump. You're hating on Lala, and we're like engaged in this again. It's giving you more reason. Listen, if Lala wasn't talking about Ariana, you wouldn't be rah rah go Ariana right now. you wouldn't care because Ariana wouldn't really be as relevant right now. I know that's not a fun thing to say. I know that's like, ooh, how dare you say that? Sorry, I said it. What would you be talking about? Ariana got Chicago, yay! Ariana almost won Dance with the Stars, yay! Ariana's in a movie, yay! That gets boring after a while. Congrats to her. Good for her. Listen, Ariana, make your paycheck. At this point, I think she is beyond the show. She's ready to move on from the show. She never really wanted to be on the show. But if we're also being honest, like Lala is kind of making her relevant, even though Lala's making herself the villain in a lot of this. We're talking about it, and it's validating your love of Ariana. So, if anything, she's doing Ariana a favor. Sorry, that's not the popular opinion, but it's true. Okay. It became very clear that Lala is trying to stir some hype because otherwise no one else is really caring about the show. I'm glad someone's working for their paycheck. You know what I mean? The only person that's actually working for their paycheck is Tom Sandoval, but he just keeps putting his damn foot in his mouth. I'm just like, bro, get it together. So we'll see. Lala is trying to save the show. But yes, as I was saying before I was interrupted, April is Autism Awareness Month. I'm going to tune out the live chat for this next part. But April is Autism Awareness Month. My brother has autism. He's 22 years old. And I got so irritated and annoyed because I kept seeing Holly Madison's on a press tour right now, right? She's promoting her new show. I think it's called Lethally Blonde, something like that. It's a new show. And then I think Playboy Murders is also picked up for another season, and she's promoting that. So she's out promoting her new shows. And not only is she promoting her new shows, but the headlines that I've been seeing from this press tour talk about her later in life autism diagnosis, which I have a lot of mixed feelings about. Because I look at Holly Madison's life, you know, we watched her on Girls Next Door. We watched her on her own reality show, Holly's World. Read her books, followed her for many years, have invited her on this podcast. And to me, you know, my understanding is she's now come out and said that she has autism and it's given her life meaning. And she's so grateful that she now has this diagnosis. And then we also had Tallulah Willis, who has also come out and spoken about on Instagram, spoken about her later in life recent autism diagnosis. And that also came with a lot of mixed feelings. Because then as I was looking through Tallulah's Instagram account, I saw her smoking and partying it up at music festivals. And seeing her go on Instagram and post selfies without makeup on and talk about how she had filler and she had the filler in her face dissolved because she's trying to challenge beauty standards, right? And to me, I'm looking at these examples of these women that have a very large platform and have now maybe not proclaimed themselves as the face of autism, but have acknowledged on their public platforms that they are a face of autism. And my frustration comes with, and that's not to take away or diminish anybody's experience. Let me be very clear about that. But it's challenging when, I mean, I don't know how much, I mean, I've shared it with you guys. My work prior to being a full-time content creator, I worked with families affected by autism. I helped fundraise to help them receive access to medical treatment that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. These were very, you know, serious cases of autism. My brother has it. I worked with many families. We're around it all the time, you know? And so the families that I see every day, even the ones that are more high functioning and have, you know, what used to be considered Asperger's, which is a more high functioning form of autism that maybe, you know, comes with a little bit more social issues or, you know, certain stims. But it's frustrating because I do see a lot of people, especially like on TikTok, where we self-diagnose, right? We self-diagnose or we get a later in life, very mild diagnosis of it and suddenly want to identify with it without acknowledging that there is a big fraction of this community that doesn't have a voice and doesn't have a platform because their lives are unfortunately not your reality. My brother's 22 years old. He just aged out of the school system, will never be able to live on his own. doesn't understand the concept of what it means to put filler in your face and then dissolve the filler in your face to challenge a beauty standard. A lot of people with autism, many of which I've worked with, because I've worked with many of these families for many, many years, their children, their siblings don't have that level of it's such a deep concept to challenge today's societal beauty standards by removing your facial filler and taking a makeup-free selfie and posting that on your Instagram. Holly Madison, who, seems to be relating her experience with Hugh Hefner and Playboy to her autism diagnosis now that she's an adult. I'm sorry, most people with autism cannot articulate themselves the way Holly Madison does. They don't have reality shows based on their life. They're not writing New York Times bestselling books challenging their experience at the Playboy Mansion because they don't like Hugh Hefner. Again, that's not to take away. I'm sure their lives are impacted and I'm sure there are struggles that they face every day, but it's no comparison to the people that don't have these platforms that really do struggle with autism. And I know I got a lot of shit for it over the weekend when I posted about it on Instagram. One with people saying that autism presents differently in women than in men or in girls than boys. Sure, we can make that argument. I've worked with a number of girls on the autism spectrum as well. A lot of young women, a lot of families. I mean, one mother who I love and adore that I worked with, in the past, helping her with her two daughters. She has two daughters with autism, twin girls. They both have autism, and I was having this, I had a lot of conversations with a lot of families that I used to work with over the weekend because they reached out after I shared on social media. And she was talking about, she's like, I have two daughters with autism. If anybody knows autism in girls versus boys, she's like, I do, and I agree with you 100%. And we had a really good conversation about that. So it's interesting because a lot of people turned it into like an anti-woman, like I'm misogynistic for sharing my brother's experience in comparison to Tallulah or Holly. The reason Tallulah and Holly and there's this girl Demi something from The Bachelor. The reason I picked them is because they're the ones that are going out there and talking about it publicly. That's the reality. There aren't a lot of guys that are going out or celebrity men that are going out on the internet and saying, hi, I have autism. Let me talk about my experience. We even have like Amy Schumer, who married a guy with autism. I don't know Amy's husband's situation. I just know that these people that are talking about autism so publicly and so openly and want to celebrate it completely don't acknowledge people like my brother or people like the families that I have worked with that deserve to be seen as well, that deserve to have their stories and their experiences shared as well. I posted that same video that I posted on Instagram to TikTok, and then so many people reported it that it got removed from TikTok, and I had to fight that. And I had to say, no, my brother's experience with autism is valid. His story deserves to be shared just as much as Holly or Tallulah. And you know what? I wasn't trying to be hateful. I wasn't trying to come from a bad place. I was just saying they are not the face of autism. There are many faces of autism. Here's another face of autism. And the reality is, he doesn't have the language that most of these people have. There was even one bitch that came up in my comments and she was talking about, really pissed me off. And she was like, I just want to know, did your brother consent to you posting this video of him on the internet? And I was like, listen, bitch, I wish my brother had the level of awareness to understand what consent means. I wish yes, he knew that he was being posted on the internet. He has some level of awareness, but in terms of let me give you my consent, again, a very deep concept that many, I can't say most, but many people with autism, that's their reality. My brother's lived experience that we face every day is his reality. The reality is he will not be able to live on his own. He doesn't have that capability. That doesn't make me ableist for saying, hey, Holly's living a pretty great fucking life. Tallulah with her Bruce Willis dad and her Demi Moore mom, who gets to go out to music festivals and party with her friends, is living a pretty good fucking life. Sorry, but that's the reality. She is, in comparison to kids that are adults that are now nonverbal. I was looking at the statistics. I believe 40% of people with autism have limited, they have communication barriers because of their limited speech, because they are either nonverbal or, are not able to articulate. My brother's one of them, you know? I mean, we're able to communicate with him and he's able to share some of his words, but you know, that's a challenge that he faces, you know? When my mother passes away, who's going to be responsible for him? I will. And that's a privilege that I know my family has because not everyone has a sibling that can take in or that even wants to take that on, you know? Part of the reason I work with Home Life Community now because they're looking to provide housing solutions for these adults because the fear is most of these parents that have these children that are now aging out of the school system, like my brother, that aren't going to be able to work, that won't be able to live on their own. If they die, nobody's going to take care of their kid. Their kid will become a warden of the state. That's the reality that many of these families are facing. So I'm sorry if seeing somebody like Tallulah and Holly go out on the internet and publicly talk about this and feel like it's given them a sense of identity. It makes them feel important. I'm glad they feel important. They should feel important. We're all important. My brother is a very smart, capable, and important person in this world. And unfortunately doesn't have the same luxuries that those women do. And if there were a man that were out there talking about his autism diagnosis, I would lump him in with that too. We just don't have that right now, right? That doesn't make me anti-woman. That doesn't make me ableist. That doesn't make me, you know, anti-people on the spectrum. I spent a decade of my fucking life towards helping families on the spectrum. I know families on the spectrum. I knew autism before it was cool and trendy to talk about on TikTok. I knew and lived with autism every day. When you see these families that have kids that are self-injurious because they can't articulate what's going on inside, when they can't speak, they can't verbalize certain things. My brother, to this day, when he gets frustrated, he would bang his head into a wall, and it would freak me the fuck out because I'm like, you know, like it's scary, it's terrifying, and that's a reality that many people face. So if you're gonna go and parade your autism diagnosis, Holly and Tallulah, then you know what? Also acknowledge that there's a very real part of the autism spectrum that doesn't get a light shed on that because it's uncomfortable. It's not cute. It's not cheeky. It's not, as Tallulah describes herself, neuro-spicy. That's what she's putting out into the world, that her experience, she's neuro-spicy. My brother's not neuro-spicy, okay? He is a very, again, important, capable, smart young man in this world that deserves to be seen. He doesn't have the luxuries or the privileges that somebody like Tallulah has. He can't go on a national press tour and television and parade his autism diagnosis around like Holly can. And he's not like that Demi Burnett, I think is her name from The Bachelor. It's just it's a reality, you know? I'm sorry that it's an uncomfortable reality that I shared on the internet, but that's just what it is. And these kids, these adults that don't have a voice, that, you know, don't have a full level of awareness, they deserve to be seen and heard too. Their experiences matter too. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to take away from anybody else's experience. Just trying to say you can acknowledge the privileges that these women have. That's why we're able to hear their stories. There's a whole other community that again deserves to be seen and heard this month. And we need to continue to support organizations like Home Life Community. You can go to homelifecommunity.org. Support those organizations because they're the ones that are trying to provide solutions for what is going to become. I mean, we had a lot of these kids that were growing up with autism. Now they're becoming adults 10, 20, 30, 40 years. What are we going to do? How are we going to address that? We need to start addressing that now. So, yeah. Autism isn't always neuro-spicy. It's challenging. You know, my family had to have a gate put up around the house with locks on it because my brother would sneak off and run into the middle of the street because he didn't have a sense of danger. He thought that it was funny. Loved to climb. So, you know, if you didn't have your eyes on him 24/7, sometimes he would sneak out and you would just hear little footsteps on the rooftop and, oh, Ethan's on the roof again. Got to get him down. The neighbors didn't really understand that, you know. They had their own feelings about it. Just when his clothes would get wet, he would throw tantrums and, you know, he didn't understand how to articulate or express his feelings. You know, we worked very hard to get him to the place that he's in now, and there's still a lot more work to go. But these are the realities, and even our situation with Ethan isn't nearly as dire as a lot of other families, you know? Some of them have very severe cases. You don't hear about that. You don't hear about the parents that their hearts break because they have to institutionalize their kids. We don't hear about those stories. Those aren't neurospicy. Those aren't cute. Those don't give you a sense of purpose in the world, Holly Madison. That's the reality. If you're gonna talk about it, then at least shed light to the reality of the entire spectrum, right? Because I can acknowledge they're very high functioning people that do struggle. Sure, I don't wanna take away their struggles. I'm sure their life has become more challenging. But if I can acknowledge your side of the spectrum, why can't you acknowledge ours? Why can't you do something? Use your voice and your platform to give back. If you're gonna try to hijack the movement, at least do it in a positive way. Do something with it other than making yourself feel important by parading it in the media to promote your television show. Amen. Whew. All right. Do I even dare want to look at um the uh the live chat? You know what, I don't. I'm not going to look at the live chat. I'm already see. Listen, everybody is entitled to their own experiences. I believe I've made that very clear. Um they're allowed to speak about it, but I'm saying that you can't just come in and take that title and hijack it without acknowledging all of the people that came before you to even open up the spectrum to the place where someone like Holly Madison can get a later in life diagnosis. Okay. They're allowed to talk about their experience. Sure. Would you have Holly or Tallulah on your podcast to talk about the topic? I don't know, Joe. I don't know, to be honest with you. Holly's been invited on my podcast in the past. It was very difficult to book. She was very demanding with her schedule. I don't know, because I feel like as much as I'm always open to have conversations with people on my podcast, I feel like that would be a really challenging and triggering experience for me in going, and talking about this stuff. It's been really hard. A lot of people have had a lot of feedback that they've given, a lot of people that don't understand um, what my brother has gone through, that want to have an opinion. And listen, I know I opened myself up to that. It's hard when I share someone that is so important to me in my life and I put him on the internet, and then you have people that um, have feedback that's not always positive. That's hard. So for me to sit down in an interview with one of these women would be very challenging and triggering for me personally, because all I ever wanted was to help my brother get to the place where I could sit down and have a conversation with him. And unfortunately, having him on my podcast to have a one-on-one conversation is not a reality. Um, and so I don't know if I don't know. I mean, that's not to say I don't know. I can't I can't answer that. I know the answer right now would probably be no. I think there's a lot of unprocessed emotion that I haven't dealt with in relation to my brother. Um, I mean, even talking about this now giving me a lot of anxiety, but like, it's I don't know. That's my honest answer is I don't think I can. You know, I don't think I can. Um, yes, Stacy, Jenny McCarthy. I know her. I'm good friends with her. Jacqueline the Reader, I've also been talking to a lot lately because her son has autism. I know them through this autism world, and it's hard. I was even talking to Jacqueline, and she's really struggling this month as well, because it's hard when you see so many people that don't understand the reality and the struggles, that want to have opinions about it and that want to celebrate this and want to have this big autism awareness celebration month. It's hard. There was a scene that somebody shared from the Real Houses in New Jersey when Jacqueline was on, and all the girls went on a cast trip, and Melissa and Teresa, they're all talking about their kids and going to cheer practice and all these milestones. And the kids grow up so fast. And then Jacqueline like walks away and she's crying in the bedroom. And Siggy comes over and is talking to her, and she's explaining. She's just like, it's hard having those conversations because these other, women get to talk about the milestones that their kids are making, and I'm fighting every day just to have my kid not bang his head into a wall. I'm fighting every day just to have my kid be able to say, "I love you, mommy." Those are little luxuries that are challenging. You know, so it's hard when then the reality of autism gets lumped in with people like Tallulah and Holly. And again, not to take away from their experiences, but it's hard because there are luxuries that are not acknowledged and privileges that they have that are not acknowledged in comparison to people like my brother. So yeah. But yeah, I don't think I could have a conversation with Holly or Tallulah. Maybe one day. I don't know. I don't think that that's something that I can. I think it would just be too painful for me, you know, to do that because that's again something I only would have loved and wished to have with my brother that I just know is not. And even having to face all of this again now, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, this is the reality, you know? I'm so glad you spoke out. I'm an emergency department RN, and I've dealt with autistic children and adults with different spectrums, and I totally agree with your position. Love you, Zach. Thank you, RN. Thank you. Stacy says, thank you for being so open and real and raw with us today. Listen, thank you for just holding space. I didn't want to look at the live chat because I already saw certain people start to comment things about how, well, Holly's entitled to share her, if that's her experience, she's allowed to talk about her experience. And I'm like, okay, we're not listening. You're not listening. I'm putting my heart on the fucking table for you right now. And I'm just saying, hold space for me for 2 fucking seconds and just let me have my moment. This is real, raw emotion that a lot of us deal with and face and carry every day. So just have a little compassion, not just for me. I'm not speaking just for me. I'm speaking for all the other families, like all the moms that have reached out to me over the weekend. That's been encouraging, but also really hard because it's like you hear their stories again, and even Jacqueline, like I was like, it's Autism Awareness Day. How do you feel about just being raw and going on Instagram and going live today? And she's like, I can't. She's like, I have to stay off social media today. And I was like, I get it. I had to stay off social media too until I saw that video of you with Nick. And I just, it's not easy. So before you get your little keyboard warrior fingers up there, just take 2 seconds to shut the fuck up and just hold space. Okay. Have a little compassion. I have a lot of compassion for Cholula and Holly. I get frustrated with their narrative that they want to put out there and the way they want to celebrate this, but I do have compassion for what I'm sure is challenging for them in their life. But again, there are privileges and luxuries that they have that they don't acknowledge in parts of the community that they also won't acknowledge with their public platforms. So yes, they're allowed to speak about their experiences, and no, they don't have to and shouldn't have to speak for other people. I don't have to, and I'm using my little platform to do it, you know? So if you're going to take that on and identify with autism, then at least be able to shed light on the reality that's a lot more challenging than it is, for you to be a little socially anxious in certain situations. Lots of individuals with autism can't go to a music festival because there's too much, it's overstimulating for them and they have sensory issues. Sensory issues that wouldn't allow them to have a needle put into their face to have filler put in and then have it dissolved. That, are so socially uncomfortable that they wouldn't be able to go and date on The Bachelor. Okay. That's all. All right. I think that's all I got for you today. I was like, oh, it's going to be a short episode. Then not a lot of news today. Thank you. Michelle says, I feel for you as the sibling of a neurodiverse individual. People have no idea what we really go through to try and give them safe and fulfilling lives. Thank you. Not even just a fulfilling, my goal was always to help my brother live to his fullest potential, but I think the fact that you said safe, that's a big thing that I feel like most people don't even acknowledge. Safe. We had to have locks and gates to protect him from running into the street and getting hit by a car. Like, that's a reality. Safe, you know, it's a reality. It's a reality we don't want to accept. It's not comfortable. It's not cute. It's not Nero spicy, but it's a reality. So thank you guys. I love you. I did not watch Love on the Spectrum. Again, when it's come to, you know, seeing very high function. I mean, I listen, I send them all love, right? But sometimes it is really hard. You know, similar to like Jacqueline when she had that breakdown when Teresa and Melissa and the girls and Dolores and they were talking about their kids and seeing their kids reach those certain milestones. That was really hard. I know my mom watched it and, you know, she enjoyed the show. For me, I couldn't watch some of that stuff because to me, it was just like it was every time I watched it, as much as I was grateful that was being, you know, showcased and that their experiences were being shared. I couldn't watch it because every time I would see that, it would just remind me of all of the things that, you know, all of the milestones that my brother and I don't wanna take away from his accomplishments because he's come a long way, but sometimes seeing some of those things also bring back the reality of the experience that he, will not face. I see a lot of puzzle pieces in the live chat. So puzzle pieces are a symbol for autism. It's kind of like the, it's a symbol for autism awareness. But yeah, thank you for listening to me, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, appreciate you. I can't watch Love on the Spectrum either. It's triggering. Yeah, see, Michelle gets it as a fellow sibling. It's hard, you know. And we're not allowed to talk about how hard it is. And we're not allowed to be angry at Holly and Tallulah. And we're not allowed to express our reality. And we're not allowed to be frustrated, you know, because the second that you are, you're anti-woman and you're ableist and you're this and you're that. And it's like, no, fuck that. Fuck that. I will take that heat. Fight me all day. I don't need to engage with you, but I will talk about it. We're going to mention it all. And now we've said it. And trust and believe. Now that I've talked about it, this ain't gonna be the last of it. I've walked away from this community. I needed to for a couple of years to really just focus on my own family and my own brother. And now I'm like, I'm getting fired up again and I'm ready. So let's do it. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for today's conversation. Thank you for showing love, for listening. I was expecting there to be a dip in the live chat once I started talking about all of this, and the number stayed consistent, right under 400, which means that you guys came, you listened, you stayed, and that means a lot to me. And I'm sure it means a lot to many other families that don't have a platform to be able to share. So thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. The video is on my Instagram if anybody wants to like share it and bring awareness or, you know, send love. Just Plain Zack is my Instagram handle. You can follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack and catch new episodes of No Filter with Zack Beador Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings, streaming live on YouTube and then immediately available on all podcast platforms. Be sure to like and subscribe and just put a little love out into the world. Okay? Just a little more love. All right. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. I'm going to sip me some coffee. Maybe have a good little cry now that we've brought up all of this unresolved, unprocessed emotion that's been coming back this past week. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Ciao for now. Good night. Bye.